Welcome to Mother's Haven, a podcast where mothers are challenged to try for more through access to help, hope, and a pathway to healing. Every mother goes through various phases and seasons where they daily navigate distress, discomfort, and wholesome experiences. I have personally walked the path of various pain points and experienced certain life changing situations in my own journey, which actually brings me here to offer you a hand to help, a voice of hope, and a pathway to healing. Each time you listen, a rush of liberation comes through because I'm here to validate your freedom and also to challenge you to be a mother and much more.
Welcome to yet another episode on Mother's Haven podcast. We have a superwoman in the house, the Fleximum. I'm going to be reading her profile to tell us a little bit about her. And I mean a little bit because she is so much more than the profile reads. So her wonderful name is Idala Ukufre. She is Africa's premium holistic fitness thought leader. She's a mentor at the Fleximum community, which is a safe haven for moms that helps them become intentional about the health of their spirit, their soul, and their body. She created the Kick Out Eclampsia Initiative, an NGO born out, an NGO that was born out of her near-death experience with eclampsia after the birth of her second son in 2015. She has authored books, but her first paperback book is called The Feed Farm Made Easy. She's the CEO of the Fleximum Coach Company, which helps women kick out high blood pressure after pregnancy and also helps them become a flexi fifth mom with mindful routines, accountability, and lifestyle fitness plans. She works with her amazing staff to curate amazing content on their YouTube, emailing, Instagram, and Facebook accounts. She's very passionate about mindful parenting, where she blogs sometimes at idalaogupre.wixsite.com/website. She's a wife, a mom to four amazing boys, 10-year-old, 7-year-old, 4-year-old twins. Yes, and she's certified by the Sure Academy as a body transformation expert. She's also certified by Stanford University's Coursera Child Nutrition and Cooking. She's a voracious reader and working on getting certified as a mind-body fitness coach at Spencer's Institute. She loves using technology to create solutions. She's currently working on creating a tech-based platform for moms navigating pregnancy-induced hypertension into a fitter, flexible, and fun version of herself. Her love for music, dance, and art, making up, getting dressed for photo shoots, is shown on her social media handles at Idala Okukure on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Wow. I hope you have seen how awesome, how magnificent, intelligent, brilliant, and how much of an expert our guest is. You're welcome to the show, Fleximum. You're so
Yeah.
welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, the honor is ours. We're privileged to have you on the show. So let's get right into it. Let's start with Kick, Kick Out and Clumsier Initiative. How did it all start? What what's the story behind it? And how did you get here?
Okay, so Thank you again for having me, Mother's Haven podcast. I'm so happy to be here. My story, my fitness story, or this, this amazing experience of creating this NGO, Kick Out Eclampsia initiative, started when I had a condition called eclampsia. Eclampsia is actually a type of pregnancy-induced hypertension. And I'd never heard of it before now. And so I had my second son in 2015. And at that time, before then I had the miscarriage before I had him. So I had already piled up some weight, right? And this is my own story, because for different people, pregnancy-induced hypertension occurs in different ways. So there's no one size fit all. So this is my own story. And by the time I got to the end of that pregnancy, like I said, I had miscarriage and I didn't lose the weight and I got pregnant. And by 2015, when it was time to, when I was nearing my due date, I realized that, I don't know if nearing is an English word, but then you guys understand the gist. So when I was approaching my due date, I realized that I was a whooping 101 kg. And this is me. I'm a petite. I have like I'm a 5'5" petite person. So imagine that weight on a 5'5", 5'5" lady. It was so much, and I just felt like it was so late. And this story, actually, I don't want to be too long, but maybe as we progress, we're going to get to the story. But I just want to talk on how it evolved into me creating this NGO. So by the time I was on my due dates, I'd already gained so much weight, and I gave birth to my son. He was fine. When my doctor, during the antenatal sessions, it was okay. The protein in my urine wasn't scary and all of those things and all. So I don't want to make it too complicated. So by the time we gave birth, I gave birth to him, and 2 weeks later, fast forward to 2 weeks later, this story is very long. Fast forward to 2 weeks later, I started having my feet were swollen, and I didn't have swollen feet during the pregnancy. This is happening postpartum, 2 weeks. I was having crazy headaches. Like, the headache was terrible. I've never had that kind of headache before. It was just, at first I thought it was stress. And, it was just, okay, let's see. But my mom was concerned because she was like, you didn't have, your feet were not swollen during pregnancy. Why are they swollen now? Please go to the doctor, go to the hospital and check. Let them just check that there's nothing wrong with you. That's how I drove to the hospital that fateful day. Checked my blood pressure because I'd not checked it. I didn't know anything was wrong because I'd never had any blood pressure issues before, ever. You don't have the history of it in my family, so there wasn't anything to bother about. And by the time I got to the hospital, they checked my blood pressure and it was reading 180, 100. Very high.
Yeah. Wow.
So they told me to calm down, like I should just, put ice blocks, because at this point my head was like pounding. My head had been pounding like that for like days before then. So I just thought it was, stress from, okay, you just give birth, maybe baby's not allowing you to sleep at night, breastfeeding and all the whole stress from. And so it was just very terrible. The headache was really bad. And all of a sudden, it wasn't going down. Okay, so here I am in the hospital with ice packs on my head and thinking that it would calm down, but it wasn't going down. So they had to rush me to the clinic. I was on the island and they had to rush me to the mainland where the ICU of the clinic was. And before we got to the mainland, it felt, just imagine the traffic. There was it was traffic, high peak period, traffic and everything. The ambulance was just, everything was just crazy. We finally got to the mainland. They rushed me into the ICU, took my blood pressure at that time. It was 200, 110. It had hit the roof, literally. So everybody was on ground to like try to crash the BP and all of that. And at that point, anything could happen. People have passed on as a result of that condition and didn't even know that that's what it was called, right? So by the time they were trying to stabilize me, I convulsed on the table. And I just, at that point when I was jerking on that table, it felt, there was just this peace in me that I just knew that it was just God, because I don't think I would have come out of that situation. While in the ambulance, I had a nurse, the ambulance nurse that was just, I was just fortunate to have someone that was just decreeing words over me. And she was like, you will not die, you will live to see your children's children. She was just declaring, because at that point I couldn't say anything. I just needed that headache off my head. And so I just felt like, I felt like I took solace in the words that had gone forth, because that woman was like an angel, right? And by the time with the whole process of me convulsing and stabilizing, the doctors just had to step back to see how my body was going to recover from that. And that's how, to God be the glory, it stabilized, and I was able to get drugs and all of that, and then began my journey to recovering from pregnancy-induced hypertension. So I had to be placed on hypertensive drugs so that the BP could calm down and all of that. Normally, hypertension that's induced by pregnancy usually lives within 6 weeks, but that's the issue. A lot of people don't get to wean themselves off the hypertensive drugs. So I immediately, I think it was just God that revealed it to me that you have not been eating very well. You have not been taking care of yourself very well. So for me, this was my own eureka moment. Like, you have to now begin to take care of your health. So it was at that point I had to sit down with myself and say, oh, no, you have to take care of yourself. And so from that 2015, I started, taking walks around the environment. Thankfully, I had help at home. I had a support system. I had my mom. I had a support staff at home that was helping with my first son and everything. At a point, I couldn't even breastfeed again because I just needed to be okay for myself first. It even created a kind of, I didn't really bond with my second son that much because, and so to a large extent, I also felt like I was one responsible. I was responsible for his own deficiency because he came out as a special needs child. He came out to be on the autism spectrum. So he had speech delays and all these things. So I started researching and reading, and while I was trying to take care of myself, during that period, just trying to cater to me and cater to him as much as I could. I didn't really bond with him that much, like I said, because as much as I did with my first son. You know, with my first, so you know, your first, you're like, who, everything. You're just like, oh, this is my first child. You know, they have all the attention. So this condition just, you know, ripped me off that time to bond with him, because I couldn't, I had to take care of myself. I had to take drugs. I had to, you know, it got to a point I was like, I didn't want to take any drugs anymore. And so I decided that I was going to start weaning myself off the drugs. So I started researching, I started reading, I started checking what I could do to stay healthy, to stay fit. You know, I started walking around my environment, my neighborhood, like 15 minutes, because my the pain from the eclampsia experience was terrible. I had terrible back pains. You know, it was it was really a trying time. I'm just it's very unfortunate that I didn't record those moments, those beginning moments. It was only when I started losing weight that I started documenting my journey, my story. So this happened. I eventually lost the weight in all the baby weights, like completely a different person in 2017. So it took me almost like 2 years. I was taking it steady, step by step, and all of that. And I eventually started, you know, people started asking me, oh, what did you do? How did you lose the weight? And that's how I began to coach women to lose weight. But I wanted to coach from the angle of, I didn't want to just coach women to just lose the weight. I really wanted to coach women to be intentional about the health of their spirits, their soul, and their bodies. And that's how the whole Fleximum idea came about. It's a holistic experience and all of that. So I wanted it to be different from what every other person was giving out in the fitness industry. And so that's how I pitched that niche for myself. When I started, it was actually Holy Groomed Academy. I know we are talking about NGO, but I'll get to the NGO part. The NGO part came later. So this part is like the beginning. And it was Holy Groomed Academy because I wanted to really talk about people's wholesome, healthy living experience before it's metamorphosed into just the Fleximum Coach Company in 2019. And so I think it was in 2019 that I started thinking about registering the business. And now I felt like there wasn't enough awareness about eclampsia. So I just registered, while I was registering the business, that's the Fleximum Coach Company, I registered Kick Out Eclampsia Initiative. And so we began to run virtual classes in the break of COVID in 2020. We're doing virtual outreaches, just enlightening people that have had hypertension induced by pregnancy, or just hypertension as a result of, you know, lifestyle changes and all of that. So that's how Kick Out Eclampsia actually started. We've not had any physical outreach, but everything that we do in the Fleximum Coach Company is literally to zoom in on postpartum high blood pressure induced, you know, pregnancy. And so that's basically how Kick Out Eclampsia started. So we've done virtual outreaches, did it like almost a year before things changed, before COVID. COVID changed a lot of things, and we've not had any other outreach yet since last year, early last year. But we're looking to incorporate the courses. We are now creating courses as the Fleximum Coach Company. We are creating like a course, like a platform, an app, which would eventually turn into an app because it's a tech-based solution to help moms to navigate pregnancy-induced hypertension into a more fit and flexible. So we want to make it very, we want to make it interactive. We want to make it, we are creating a community of people because I realized that a lot of women don't talk about these conditions. When they have hypertension, it's as if, oh, they don't want anybody to know, or they feel like, oh, they can just rough it, they can do whatever they like to do. And I really want to create a wholesome experience for moms to, navigate that phase of their lives, that they can actually come out. And this also happened, the eclampsia didn't happen again, but I also had pregnancy-induced hypertension again with my twins, even though the twins were not, their pregnancy was like the healthiest I've been, because even till like 5 months, people didn't really know that I was pregnant. If I wore overall, my face was still toned and everything. But it was when I had to, go for what they call it now, bed rest in the hospital. That was when I started gaining all the weight. And that's one thing that the NGO we are looking forward to doing. Well, I would need help with the structure of the NGO because we've not really had, I just had the idea, but we are looking to partner and work with other people to push this message across. So I did have eclampsia with my twin boys, thankfully, but my BP also increased. It increased as a result of, pregnancy. So I was talking about how that hospital nutrition played a major role in affecting my blood pressure. Because at home, I could control my food, but in the hospital, they give you whatever they give you. And it include a lot of vegetables in it and all of that. So these are the things that we want to address with the NGO and what we do at the Fleximum Coach Company. So that's basically what Kick Out Eclampsia initiative is about. I hope you guys enjoyed the story.
Oh, wow. I'm just include the story, and I was really amazed when you said your BP was 201.
Yeah.
So I'm a pharmacist, so I understand what the implication of that is. And honestly, this is the point where we say we are thankful for your life.
Yes. That one, so whenever I say it's a near-death experience, I literally almost died. And I knew about an incident or two of women that around that time that actually died, after pregnancy. So most people that die after pregnancy, most women that die after pregnancy, most people just feel like, oh, it was village people or this and that, but they don't really know that the condition, eclampsia, or it could have been eclampsia, it could have been hypertension that was induced by pregnancy. So knowledge actually helps, because even the second time when it happened, even though, like I said, it didn't result into full-blown eclampsia, I was aware of the symptoms. So I had headaches at night, and I had to rush back to the hospital. So most people will think, oh, headache at night after having babies is probably stress, and you don't get to go back to the hospital. So this enlightenment awareness is what we want to keep doing at with the organization, or with the NGO, and even much more with the Fleximum Coach Company, because that's what we have now niched down into. We started out as, just helping people, coaching people to lose weight and all of that. But much more than that, I really want to be known for that woman that created solution for helping women that had pregnancy-induced hypertension and giving them like a leeway to coming out. Because if I had this kind of platform that I'm about to create, if I had it back then, it would have really, really helped me to know that, oh, I'm not alone and all of that. So yeah, that's that.
Awesome work you're doing with the tech platform. And I love it because it will even be able to serve beyond the borders of the nation, of the continent of Africa. It's tech, so it's be able to go worldwide to help every woman who comes across with it and interacts with it and is going through the same or similar situation. So well done, well done. More grace and more strength for the execution of the project. Okay, so it's been really enlightening listening to your story, and honestly, I would say you're very resilient because after the you experienced your second son, you still went ahead and had twins again. Honestly,
It was a shock. It was a shock to us actually, because we had said we were going to hang the boots. And so in hanging the hanging the books, sometimes I say jokingly that over sexiness actually caused the twin pregnancy. That I went from a size 18-20 to a size 6'8".
wow.
I was that like thin, thin, and that was like the thinnest I've ever been, thinnest, tonest I've ever been. And so I felt so good. Like I felt like I had accomplished a huge task, a huge achievement. And boom, I got pregnant. I got pregnant with the twin boys and realized that they were twins when I think it was about 20 weeks.
Wow, that's really awesome. That's really awesome. So thank God for strength, as I always say, and resilience as well. Wow, 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 wow. I'm in awe. Our Fleximum, you've actually been through different phases, and I'm actually impressed and I'm thankful to God for your life. I'm really grateful that these experiences have shaped you into who you are right now. And we really, really want to dive into another another aspect of this story that you've shared with us. We want to be able to enjoy the entirety of the experiences that you had and the lessons learned, and how other women can actually learn from it and avoid going through the same situations. So to our listeners, kindly stay subscribed such that you can know when the second part of this amazing storytelling series with the Fleximum Idala. Honestly, it has been a wonderful time, and I'm sure the second part will be much more amazing.
Thank you for joining us on this episode on Mother's Haven podcast. I believe you've had a life-changing and liberating experience. To connect with us or reach out for support, we got you. Kindly send us a DM on Instagram at Mother's Haven or on mothershaven.com. Also, kindly hit the subscribe button to catch every new episode of our validating and inspiring content. Do also leave us a review. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you.